Joseph Valadez is a 63-year-old veteran and recent graduate of Cal State Long Beach. He spent 38 years of his life addicted to heroin and has been in and out of prison 40 times. It wasn't until Joseph was in his mid-50s that he decided to get clean and do something with his life. In 2013, and with the help of the Salvation Army of Anaheim Adult Rehabilitation Center, Joseph started his journey into sobriety. Fast forward 8 years and Mr. Valadez graduated with a 3.67 GPA in the field of sociology. He is currently awaiting acceptance into Cal State Long Beach's graduate program for social work. His story is quite incredible, and I was curious to find out why after 38 years of addiction, someone decides to turn their life around. In the words of Joseph, I'm going to inspire somebody, I'm going to motivate somebody, I'm going to give somebody hope. That is what I'm supposed to do. Your brother passed away, huh?
July 27th of 2019.
In 19. That's pretty close. I'm sorry to hear that. And it was fentanyl, you said?
It was a heroin overdose. It was opiates. It was the toxology test said. And
Was it spiked with fentanyl?
I don't know. I didn't want to find out. I really didn't.
It's your full blood brother?
Yeah. My baby brother. I got him by 7, 8 years. 8 years? 7.5.
That's heavy. So you guys both were struggling with addiction, and
He had done 18 straight years in prison. And he got out and he was doing the same thing before he went to prison.
so what do you think the difference is there with what was a deciding factor or the event that made you turn around? Because there's so many people that relapse and stay on that path once you're in the system. What was different for you? Was it something like all of a sudden, or was it a compilation of events?
My truth is this. This is my truth. I love getting loaded. Period. I loved it. I loved it with every fiber of my being. I loved all the drama that went with it. I loved them streets. I ran them streets and I ran them hard. That's my truth.
So let's go back with that. When did your perspective in like running the streets? Because I'm trying to imagine like a movie-like scenario, or even at my high school, I was exposed to gang life, but I never like fell in love with it to where it makes you feel like that bad boy or you want to do drugs.
I got to tell you, man.
What was it like for you?
I've always hated the word gang and gangbangers, man.
How come?
Because society put them labels on us. And I'm a sociology major, so I know the why now. And I guess I myself, this is myself, right? I just don't like that. We'll say it for whatever purposes.
Yeah.
I just wanted you to know my feelings on that.
What do you prefer? What?
Well, you can't say any other thing but gangs, gangbang. People understand that. What am I going to say? A fraternity?
Maybe like a culture. It's like a culture in itself. Like some people want to go put on the suit and tie, and that's how they earn a living. But it is a culture. And then you have someone that
it is a culture. It is a culture, and it was fun at first. At least in my mind, I thought it was fun. I thought it was hanging out and having all these different women when I was a young age, and like people. I guess years later, they call party crews, but we party crews every day we could.
When did you start partying?
Well, I started drinking at an early age, not for effect, but experimenting with beer. And my mom came from a family. She had 9 sisters and 7 brothers. And my dad came from a family that had 9 brothers and 2 sisters. So either or, we go to, if I went on my dad's side for a party, they were big. If I go to my mom's side of the family, they're even bigger because all my aunts and uncles, they all had at least 6, 7 kids each, man. So could you imagine what them family gatherings were like?
Lots of beer.
Lots of beer. And after a while, 2, 3 hours, there's a lot of half-filled beers lying around, and I would snatch one and go around, and my cousins, we all experimented together, and then
When was it a choice for you, let's say middle school, high school, to where you really started dabbling in like gang life and maybe substance
even
abuse?
at 11, I had smoked my first, took my first couple of tokes of weed.
11 years old?
And you got to remember, this was weed that was usually grown around here, or the stuff that was imported from Mexico then was nowhere compared to what you got now, man. Because today you got like hybrids on top of hybrids on top of hybrids, man. Today,
There's a lot of science behind it.
oh man,
Makes
they're
it
trying
a
to make
stronger flower.
and then they got a million different names for the stuff that they got now. You take one toke and it'll kill you. Well, somebody told me he had smoked some stuff called AK-47. I couldn't imagine why they named the thing AK-47.
It's branding. People want it to be catchy, all these different growers.
Then this other one, he was telling me he had some stuff that was called Brain Blaster.
There's so many different kinds. It's
so
nuts. It's gnarly.
It's a science.
What do you think, coming from an addiction background and making it out on the other side, about the growing trend of like accepting marijuana and it's becoming more legal?
It has its medicinal purposes.
For sure.
And I'm not going to go with it. My grandmother used to grow a plant. She's old school she's from Mexico, and my grandfather was from Mexico, and she was big on everything holistic. Even then, she knew any I don't want to disrespect nobody, but she was of the mind that pills were the white man's poison, right? And if you look at pharmaceuticals today, and the astronomical amount of money they make today, you might have had a point if you think about it.
Absolutely. No, I agree. So let's get back to the event in your life, or I'm not even sure if it was a single event. When did you make that choice? Was it because you got out and had an opportunity, or when did it switch in your head? You're like, I'm done living this life. For how many years were you addicted to drugs?
Oh, could have been off and on for like 43 years, man.
43 years. So when did it start?
No, off and on. It was all because there was times that I didn't do pills and I was just drinking, but I always drink. Any drug that I use, I always used for effect, to get fucked up. Period. To get fucked up.
Because alcohol's still a drug, It's still under that umbrella.
And today I know I couldn't. In the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it has a section called the doctor's opinion, and they talk about the allergic reaction of alcohol. And the first time I heard that, I go, well, fuck, maybe that's me, man, because the way it was explained to me, it was like this. You open up a can of beer, doesn't matter what time of the day it is, but it's at your first beer, right? A nice cold one of whatever your favorite brand is. You pop it open, you unscrew it or whatever, and you take that first gulp. If you go like, and you start going, you're allergic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You're craving it. You got that little fix.
Because a lot of people, they don't do that. They just drink it okay. But, and I would think of all the times that I did that, and that motherfucker's right, man.
It's like you're falling in love with it almost.
No, but it kicked in. It did something. It kicked in, right? And like again, I always drink for effect. One, I say if I drink a beer, you line them up, because I drink for effect. I drink till I get fucked up,
Yeah. So what made you want to stop? What?
Well, there was a bunch of My wife had left me. I had been couch surfing, but I wasn't homeless because I had a car, so I could sleep in my car. Usually in the driveways of my homeboys or friends' house. But it was cool because they usually had gates, so we could close the gates, and the cops. I wouldn't go on the streets, you know. Um, I was living with a childhood friend of mine. Not living, he was letting me sleep in the driveway. His old in the morning, I'd back out, and his old lady would go to work, and I'd back in, and I'd go shower and shave, whatever. And he was giving me. He had bought a house, and he was doing additions to it, modifying it, doing everything. You know, he bought it dirt cheap during 2007, uh, during when the real estate took a shit, and he bought it for real dirt cheap, man. I want to say like 300,000. The houses down where he lives are going for like 750, right? But he put like $100,000 into it, right? New fence, new driveway, new installation. He ripped out all the flooring, and I was helping him do some of that, right? And he was paying me in dope, right? He'd give me some in the morning, give me some at lunch, he'd give me some at at night, and then he'd give me $40, right? And fed me. So I thought it was a good deal, right? Fuck, he kept me loaded, right?
How long did that go for?
Um, that was going on for maybe about 3 4 months. But I forgot what happened. He didn't give me money, right? And he had already given me the dose, so I wasn't sick, right? But I wanted more. I wasn't sick, but I wanted more. And a lot of times we have a saying in our fellowship that one is too many and a thousand is never enough, right? And that's the way I was, right? You could be well and just want more, right? And I had one of them. I want more moments, and he didn't want to give me none. This was like about 6 7 o'clock at night, and all right, fuck you, I'll show you. And I went out and I was looking, I couldn't find nothing. I wanted something. I went in my neighborhood, nothing, man. Nobody had nothing. That's fucking man. I'm gonna go rob a motherfucker. By the time I finished doing all that, it was like about 1 o'clock in the morning, man. I went back and I pat 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 pat. I hit on his window and 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 I told him I got money, puto. Give me some dough, right? And he did. So I went and I slammed and I fell asleep in the driveway. I did it right there in the driveway. I slammed right there in the driveway. Same thing in the morning. I pulled out, pulled back in, and but we didn't do the ritual we've been doing for the last 3 4 months, right? He stood out there. 'Cause usually after he do that, he called me, open up the door, and I go come in, and then we go straight to the bathroom and do our ritual, right? That morning we didn't do the ritual. He just stood outside the door, and then he's telling me that because of my
Little fit.
little commotion, little fit that I caused. Um, and mind you, his wife is a childhood friend of mine, right? She's my homegirl. She gave him an ultimatum: either he goes or I go. I don't want him here, right?
So he cared about you, it sounds like.
Well, she told him she gave him an ultimatum: either he goes or I go, right? So he gave me a bag of methadone, and he called up a homeboy of ours that was living out in Costa Mesa, and he goes, "Look, man, I already called so and so. Uh, um, Go over there. He knows you're gonna go crash out. He knows you're gonna be going through some changes. But here's here to help you. What do you call? I gave you enough. If you do this, blah blah blah, right? You do it right. It's like he was a doctor and he give me he telling me about the regimen that I had to do for the next 2 weeks, man. If you do it like this, you shouldn't have no problem. That part he was right because I did it.
You stuck with it, huh?
That regimen, of course, nobody wants to be sick, right? And then just for that fleeting moment, man, especially with men, man. Especially for me anyway. And I've talked to a lot of men. We let our pride and we let our ego get in the way, man. You know, especially when you're with an alcoholic or addict. That's even double trouble, man. Not only is the addiction kicking in, but your pride and ego, and we know better. And how dare you tell me? And that's what our mind tells us, right? So I had that one moment of clarity, that one fucking moment of clarity, that I knew he was right, right? Because this is what he told. Because he asked me, how did you get the money, right? And I told him I went and robbed this motherfucker, and he goes, see, look, now I know I did the right thing. Look, what if you'd have got busted? Because he knows I'm a two striker. He goes, for $20, you would have gone away for the rest of your life, or at least 25 years. They would have gave you 25 years, 25 to life. Look at how old you now. In California, when they give you any type of amount of time, like 25 to life, you have to bring them 25 before you're considered. If they say 15 to life, you have to bring them 15 first before you're considered. If they say 25 to life, 35, you have to bring them that amount of time first before you're even considered. And then when he said that, I said, "Whoa." You know, I didn't think about it because I didn't care. We don't think about the consequences till after the action, right? Not during.
How old were you when you had this? Like,
I was 3 months short of my 55th birthday.
Wow.
Right. And he goes, look, go kick. The only knows you're coming. After you kick, go to a program, man. He goes. There's a lot of programs out there, and I knew there was, and I said, all right. So I went to the homies pad and I kicked, and I called April 16th, 2013, my clean date, because that's the first day I know for a fact that I didn't have nothing in my system. Some people say they call it clean day when they didn't do nothing for a day. For me, I call my clean day when I know I didn't have nothing in my system. That was the first day that I knew I slept. When you're with heroin, you don't sleep when you're kicking.
So
Right?
when how long how long had it been since you felt that feeling of being like clean and getting like good sleep, just natural sleep without some sort of substance?
Oh fuck! It'd been years. The only times that happens is when I forgot to tell you. In between that time, I must have kicked heroin 30 times, either in the county jail or in prison. Easily over 30 times, right?
What ma- what led you to get into the system initially? What were some of your previous experiences with getting locked up? Was it mostly drug related? Was it
All drug related. It was all behind burglaries, petty thefts, possession of drugs, selling drugs, identity theft. I walked in a bank and one time and they gave me 50 G's. My homie set it up. They gave me 50 G's cash. Actually, 30,000 cash and two checks for bank drafts for 10,000, 10,000. Then we ran two credit cards that had $10,000 maxes on them.
dang? What'd you do with the cash?
Went to my left and right arm.
That's a lot of dope.
I always tell people, man, I got about at least a Lamborghini in each arm, man. Probably in my
gnarly.
lifetime.
Yeah.
Rolls for sure. No, but you know, after 11,
So yeah,
I was
11
in
years
the
old.
I was in the sixth grade, going to the to the seventh that summer. Whatever age you are when you go to the seventh grade, that summer, my dad rained on my parade and told me I had to go work for my clothes. Up to that time, me and my cousins, we'd always find a way to go to the. I lived down the street from 8 miles from Huntington Beach. We'd go to Huntington Beach and go fish off the pier. I love fishing. I love the beach, right? And fuck, man, my dad threw a wrench in it. I gotta tell you, my dad, I love him to death. My mom, um, they brought me up with good morals and values. They were loving parents. My dad wasn't a big expresser of love, but my mom, she was a hugger. She would always hug us and tell us she loved us. My dad expressed his love in providing and taking us out to Disneyland, taking us to the mountains camping, and he did all that, man. And for that, uh, we always say, and I look and I always reflect. You know what? My dad did the best he could with what he had, man. If that makes any
Yeah,
type of
so
sense.
if you had that love and structure growing up, because oftentimes people either like deem their drug abuse or going down the wrong path, like, I didn't have the best parenting. But it sounds like if you had that structure, was it then maybe your peers or who you were hanging out
It's
with?
always the peers.
Yeah,
But
mostly.
then it was my choice. Again, I was brought up with good morals and values, man. It's just I had uncles, my older brother, I had cousins that were hanging around my neighborhood and living that gang life and I wanted what they had, man, because they were all driving nice cars and 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 they had these nice women and and they would be fucked up every once in a while, and they would show me, and they'd lift the bronze dress up and show me their fucking panties and shit. I want that. I want some of that, or look, and they would show me she he my cousin, my uncle was good on that. God rest his soul, man. He died of an OD. He'd have all these different women, and I'd go by and say, "Hey, come here, watch." And I was like in grade school, and he would show me their tits, man. I want that, right? It's like I idolize them too, so I want to hang out and do that. I want that, right? And I would see they were always drunk, but I started seeing my uncles lived down the street from us at my grandparents' house, and they had a washroom in the back. And I would go there in the summer, and I would see early in the morning, and there was my uncles, my cousins, and my brother, and I was peaked. They wouldn't know that I was there, and I was peaked, and I was watching them do this ritual. I was watching them burn this spoon, and I didn't know what the fuck they were doing, man. But I was fascinated. I was watching them. And they didn't know I was there, right? And I'm watching them do it, and and it fascinated me, man, because I would creep back so I wouldn't get busted because I already know they're gonna fuck my ass up if they see me doing that. Because at times I remember before they would always tell me, "Don't come over. We're over, gonna come over. Get the fuck over there. Don't even come no." And it was a good threat,
They didn't
right?
want you to see the term ritual you use. That's powerful. I've never thought of it that way. It is kind of a ritual. If you're outside looking in, a young kid at your family and like people that are older than you, and they're participating in this ritual, you don't know what they're doing. You don't know it's a drug. You don't know they're about to like shoot up. But just like watching someone rip a bong, like I watched my older brother do, and you're young and naive, but you're observing it. It's a ritual.
And
That's
and
that's trippy.
but I know whatever they did, they're fucking dancing to fucking no music. I mean, no sound. They're out here and they're humming to themselves, and they're like on the happiest people in the fucking world, man. That really fascinating. What the fuck caused them to do that, man? Here they are. They're not, from being grumpy. Now they're the most happiest people in the fucking world, man. Right?
And this is
Well,
when you're in like seventh grade. You were saying sixth to
this is
seventh.
around. I was in grade school, fifth, sixth, seventh. Yeah.
So you get to middle school,
Uh,
and what happens?
well, that summer, I have to say this is where my drinking kicked off. That summer, my dad took me to a job site. I hated him for that fucking job. I still have scars to that job because my dad had been a cement finisher all his life, man, and he had these hard ass hands, man. He prided
Scouring and
himself
stuff.
not using gloves, right? He prided, and they were real thick, hard hands, right? And back then, I went as a laborer that summer, and back then they didn't have trench diggers. Now they have trench diggers to dig trench. Guess how they had to do them before, back in the days? Everything had to be done by pick and shovel, and guess who had to do it?
You.
So I had all these blisters. But the first day that I worked at this job site, my very first day, at the end of the job, I don't know if you ever been around a construction site. This is a ritual at every construction site I've been to. At the end of the day, usually they all gather where they park the cars and they're breaking out. They're throwing beers. They hang out, shoot the shit for whatever amount, and then they go their ways. First day, pass the hat. They went beer run. And my uncle went. No, my dad went that day, right? And he went, and he's throwing everybody beer. When they came to me, he threw me a fucking soda, right? By then, I had already been tasting beer, but I hadn't really, the effect. I think maybe one time, but not, I was too scared anyway with my uncles or God forbid my aunts. My aunts back then were all at one time or another had been my babysitter, But that day, my dad threw me a soda. Okay, the following day, same thing, end of work. Pass the hat. This time, my uncle went. He went and got the beer. Came back, same thing. And I was kicking back on the tailgate of my dad. My dad had a 65 El Camino. And what do you call it? I'm sitting in the back. And my uncle throws me a beer. And I swear my eyes got wide. And my dad's looking at my uncle, his brother. And my uncle, what? You shouldn't do that. My dad tells him. Well, why? Hey, he's working a man's job. Now he gets a man's drink. And my dad didn't say shit, right?
What could he say?
Right? He didn't say shit. But if looks could kill, I died 1,000 deaths. It's like, looking, don't do it, motherfucker, type of look, yeah. Right? So I'm like, they're looking at my dad. I popped it. And the rest is history, man.
So that was the first time you felt like a true buzz, being around like pops and uncle and.
Oh no! Once I started making checks, Fridays I'd go to the guys my age, and we'd fucking go. Then I had already puffed on a couple of times on weed, but it escalated, and then I would get busted for under the influence, going to parties, and it gradually progressed. It's funny you should say the gateway. Because I got tired of that weed, man, and I started popping pills. At one time, prior to in high school, man, I was popping every barbiturate known to man. I loved them pills. They didn't have Xanaxes then. They didn't have Somas then. They didn't have what's the other one they got now? Painkiller, not OxyContin, but the other painkiller that everybody's addicted to. Soma, Xanax.
I'm not sure.
Anyway, they didn't have them. It was all Seconal, Truanol. And them barbiturates.
Were you still like a decent student in high school, or were you just all about
You know what I did?
Life?
I was a good student. But I still like getting fucked up. We're still smoking weed. I was still smoking weed, but I was still doing them pills, right?
I could relate in high school, same thing.
And this is early 70s. You gotta remember, everybody had long hair and fucking, believe it or not, I had long hair. I had hair all the way down to my ass.
Damn.
Right?
And where were you at high school?
Yeah.
Which high school? What city?
Garden Grove.
Nice.
So, fuck, I remember one time the pills kicked in during class and I fell asleep. I was right there. Everybody was leaving and they couldn't get me up, man. And finally they got me up and guess what? They took my ass straight to the vice principal's office. And I was right there. All I remember, I was asleep because next thing I know, somebody slapping the shit out of me, and it was my mom, man. They didn't call the cops. What they did, they called my mom, man, and she had to come from work. And she was up fucking set, man. I think it was like about 16 years old.
So you're like a sophomore, junior?
I don't remember. It just, yeah.
So through high school, you start experimenting, and it seems like you're
When I was 15, I started snorting. I started snorting heroin.
when you're 15.
Up to that time, too, I failed to mention as during my middle school and going to high school, I started seeing a lot of I lost my uncle. I lost two uncles. I lost three cousins, and I lost about four homeboys that OD'd and died up to that point, right? And 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 I had already knew what that ritual was, sticky needles in your arms, and there was no way, no how I was gonna stick a needle in my arm. As a matter of fact, I think I had gotten a phobia because I had been not traumatized. It just I had already seen so much death behind the overdoses. I had already gone to a lot of funerals, and I think I had put that somewhere, man. Um, some people might get traumatized, man, behind that shit, huh? I never did. At least I don't think I did. I to this day I don't really like going to wakes. I still go, but I always like to because we just came from Wake Wednesday, man, and I didn't like. And I was telling my sponsor I didn't. You know what? That's kind of the reason why I didn't want to go, man, because the guy was nowhere near what I remembered him by, man. I had seen him about a month and a half, and he didn't look nowhere near what he died of COVID.
This was the funeral you went to on, what was it, Wednesday?
Wednesday, yeah. I don't want to remember people. I want to remember how I remember them, man. However they lived, however they interacted with me in my life. I don't want to remember that. It's like
Yeah, I understand. So you're 15 is the first time you
so.
snort it, and then what? You've seen all this death.
So there
What
was no way I wasn't gonna put a needle in my arm, right?
what happens?
And by then too, I was already like going in and out of juvenile hall. I was going back then. They would bust you for the. And I got a resentment as remember this is the '60s and '70s, man, and it was the cops were real prejudicial, and I'm gonna sugarcoat it, right? Um, they were always. I know now why they would always want to impose their authority, so to speak, and
On people of color
yeah,
specifically?
and even then, you knew if you got busted by the city, they were gonna fuck your ass up either in the streets, on the way to the or at the station, or at the juvenile home. You're gonna get fucked up one of them places. That was a given. They're gonna fuck you up. Everybody in my neighborhood, right? And that's the way it was back then, man. You got to remember, this is early '70s. This is Orange County, real conservative. All the police departments were all white, and that was just part of the deal, I guess. And
Yeah.
then on top of the drug use and what I've done, you know, um,
So when you were in high school, how many times had you had interactions with police officers and had
oh
been
fuck, I did a
arrested?
year during my high school in a county facility. Remember I told you there was one up there in Cleveland National Forest. They closed it down, but I did a year up there.
What were the charges? So that would have been your first time in juvie.
No, I've been in juvenile by then. I told you I'd already been in and out of juvenile call. I was getting busted for curfew. I was getting busted for truancy. I was getting busted for under the influence. I was got busted for a knife. I got busted for fighting. I got busted for hitting a guy over the head with a baseball bat.
Shit.
I got busted for stabbing a guy. I got busted for possession of a gun. All that shit was sealed when I was a kid. My juvenile record was sealed, right?
So when you were an adult, let's say over 18, what was your longest term spent in prison?
Well, I have to tell you this first before I answer that question. On my 18th birthday, I stuck a needle in my arm for the first time, right? And only because there was like 10 of my homeboys, and they were all using, right? And they thought they were gonna do me a favor and help me, and I didn't want to fucking look like a fucking a pussy in front of them, right? Oh, you're gonna do it today. Today's your big 18th birthday, right? So I slammed, got sick as fuck, and then a week later, I got involved in an incident where a guy, well, my homeboy got killed, and because I was involved, I was given an option of going to prison or for 2 years or going to the service, right? And prior to that, I don't know what happened. I did something for juvenile, and they gave me whatever it was, 60 days or whatever, with the promise of sealing my juvenile record. So you go and look it up; they won't say nothing. They
Wow.
were sealed, right?
So
So when I got busted as an adult, there was nothing, no juvenile record. So that's why I got that deal, right?
did you go to the service?
That was a no brainer. I went to the service from 1976 to 80,
What
right?
was that like? Well,
I was acting like a fool. There ain't nothing changed. I was acting bigger as a fool than I was in my neighborhood, man, because I went to my first duty station. And up to that, mind you, I only stuck a needle one time in my arm. That was in 1980. I had snorted heroin numerous times from the time I was 15. It wasn't weekly, maybe every other week. I'd go and get in my brother's stash and take a pinch out. And me and my homeboy would experiment. But it was cool because I was snorting it and I wasn't using a needle.
so you know
Right?
it's better than like putting it in your arm. You
Yeah,
can kind of justify it. So you said you were 18 in 1980. That's the one first time you did it.
that's the first time. No, I turned 18 in 1976.
76. Okay, so you get the ultimatum, and you choose to go into the military. What branch?
The U.S. Army, and how I came out with the honorable discharge is beyond me because I was fucking up just as much. It my addiction progressed because after basic training, I went to a Fort Hood, Texas, and man, that motherfucker, we were partying every fucking. You got to remember, the service is just like a job. The only thing is, if you serve in any type of combat arms is like infantry, artillery, missiles, or in my case, I was in tanks. Those are what's called a combat arms units. And I was in because I was in tanks, M68 ones, and you put in longer hours because you go out, you prepare to get ready to go out and play army, and you play army, you know, the strategics and blah blah blah. We're gonna overrun this position, blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've got a lot of buddies in the military.
Okay, so you understand. You put in longer hours, right? And after one of these uh I guess what would be the term for you? Bivouacking, maybe. We call it training. After a 2 week training of being out in the field, we had come in, and I went and took a shower, and I came back, and I seen this dude, man, in my unit. Actually, it was my platoon, and I seen what the hell he was doing. And there he was doing that ritual, right? I seen the spoon, and I came up on him, and it was the way he said it. I can't, the way he delivered. Have you ever done this before? Because he knew right away that I wasn't gonna rant. I wasn't gonna go telling him. Man, right then and there, my pride and ego kicked in. I go, yeah, I've done it before. Real. And then the neighborhood of me kicked into. Yeah, I've done it before. You want some? Or you pussy? He said something to that effect, right? Or you're a chicken, something like that. Well, no, he goes, don't tell me you're one of them pussies that have to have people slam you, right? No, because there's people that
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
You gotta go like this, man. And
I've
that's how
seen it
I
in
did
like
it the
the
first time. I was looking the other way when the homie slammed me. It could have been a full fucking syringe. I don't know. And I could have died that day. I don't know. I was just going on trust or whatever.
I've only seen it in the movies, like Breaking Bad and stuff.
So when he tells me that, I go, no, I could do it myself. But I'm just telling him the numerous times I had seen people do it. Because I had seen people do it in my brother, my uncles, right? They would always yell at me because and like, especially at my mom's house, was a couple of times, uh, uh, my uncles were trying to be sneaky and they would go in my room while they're at my mom's house and fucking do that ritual. And I would walk in on them, right? And then he'd fucking get out of here, man. You better not say nothing, right? So, but I'd walk in on them, I was slamming, so I had a good idea of what the fuck had to be done, man. I just know when you see blood in it in the syringe, you're fucking good to go, right? And I was watching him do it, and I was like, yeah, I got this in my mind. So I'm just gonna give you a little bit, right? And he gave me that little bit, and then the same thing happened. I got sick as fuck, but I love that high. It's like a euphoric high, right? And the rest is history. I got strung out in the service.
So you get thrown out,
No, I got strung out
strung out in the service.
in the service. I never got
Wow.
thrown. I came out with honorable discharge.
Honorable discharge. And then from that period to when you got sober, that was what, 30 plus years?
Yeah.
What is that like reflecting? Is it just like a giant cloud? Is it foggy? What was it constantly
I
just
say that sometimes in my meetings. I go, you know what?
like that's so much time. I mean,
I go,
I'm 26 years
I
old.
go, I go. You know what? I go. One day I woke up and I'm 55.
Really? What was some of the craziest thing that happened in that duration of time from when you're out of the service to when you get sober? The one
I don't
event
want to
that's
get into detail as far as.
you don't have to get too as much as you're comfortable talking about, but the one thing that sticks out
I'll
in your
tell you
head,
what. I
the
went on a
craziest
coke
shit.
run and I was slamming coke
Yeah.
in the early 80s. You got to remember, I came out of the service in 1980, and I was only out of the service 5 months when I went to Chino for the first. It took 40 times because that's how many times I've been to the joint.
40?
7 terms and 33 violations.
Holy shit.
That's a little less. That's a little less than 25 years, and then all the amount of time that I did as a kid. So that, in some of the papers, they said 30 years. I told them, well, in my lifetime, I've all the times that I've been busted, easy 30 years, if not a little bit more. But they wanted a number, so I said, well, somebody said, well, how long? I said, well, I would say 30 years of my life I spent in juvenile facilities in prison.
It's hard to keep track with that big of a number, you know?
All behind my addiction, all behind all of it, all of it. Uh, I was always fucked up when I got busted, even as a kid. There was only a couple of times that I did violations. I was only out a day and I got busted. So I wasn't strung out. But
What was something that sticks out, the heaviest moment or the craziest moment in that
well, I have
duration?
a couple, and I'd rather not share on that because we have a thing in recovery, man. We always say, I heard this early on, and it really stuck, and it was real powerful for me. He goes, the guy went, he was at a meeting, actually, it was at a convention. There was like maybe about 700-800 people in the room. And the guy was saying, you know what? You know how what keeps me going? He goes, I think of the worst thing I've ever done, man. The worst thing I ever done to go get drugs. The worst thing. And I keep it branded in my mind because that's what I got to look forward to if I decide to go out there and use drugs again. And it was like, fuck. That made some fucking sense to me, man, because that coke, I'm not gonna get into detail, but that coke is evil fucking what do you call when you slam it? Evil.
Make you crazy?
Evil. Evil.
Wow. Well, yeah, that's heavy. That's real heavy.
It's
So
evil.
we don't have to get into it, but I wanna transition now. I mean, you have that big span of your life, the majority of your life when you're battling addiction, and it's running your life. It's making
Yeah,
choices
but
for you.
I love getting loaded,
Yeah,
man.
you loved it. As you said. What when you
Especially when all the
finally
brides would come around, man. I would sell dope. I'm sorry, ladies, but this is my story, man. I was selling dope one time. One time I was in between all that time. I think so. I think one time I almost hit a year. It was almost that time when I was selling dope for the homie, and Beach Boulevard at that time had a lot of um,
prostitutes?
women that sold themselves. Yeah, and they were all on drugs. They were all heroin addicts. And guess most of them came in my neighborhood or the other neighborhood in Stanton. And guess who's waiting for them? And they come up sick. Hey, blah blah Joseph, can you help me out? I'll go, sure, if you help me out, right? And I'm not gonna get into it, but you can
No,
imagine
yeah,
what I was.
we know what you're talking about. It happens. I feel like that's been happening for hundreds, maybe
You know,
thousands of
and
years.
that was how it was that whole 9 months I was out there. I ended up getting busted for I think I had like 40 balloons of heroin,
Wow.
right? And I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. But you know, I made peace with all that. I really did. You know, today I respect women. My relationships. Um, I try to be the best I could be. You know, I don't have all the answers, but as far as gentlemen and treating women with respect and admiring them and loving them for and not being disrespectful, man. Any women that I see now, um, you know, I'm big on the on spirituality, so I figure, I try not to lust. I'm human, but I try not to. I try not because before I would see a woman and I would think to myself, "Damn, what I could do with that." But I don't do that no more. You know, I look at them from what the individual. Uh, I got a lot of women friends, and they're my friends because they know I won't hit on them. How about that?
That's amazing. Do you think you have to be in that sober, that clean mindset to be able to develop that type of respect? Like there was no way you could have developed that when
Well,
you were
but
in
that
the
was part of
midst
my process.
of
That was part
addiction.
of my growing process in recovery to respect women because there was a time I didn't. There was a time that if you're sick and if I had some dough, guess what? You're gonna give me some.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you this one time there was this one beautiful lady, beautiful, beautiful, and she thought her shit didn't stink, right? And she thought she was uppity because her boyfriend used and she didn't, right? And she bankrolled this dude all the time. And she come, she pick up, and she was beautiful, brothers, beautiful. But he got her to get loaded, right? And she would never give me the fucking time of the day, right? Fucking bitch, right? But he got her strung out, and he got busted. Guess what? She came to fucking pick up.
She came to you.
And she was fucking sick, and she still had her beauty. I don't know if you ever seen the results of what meth does to women, or even that heroin. Not so much heroin, but
It's
meth.
tragic. Yeah, it's tragic.
But meth really does the man because it's a man-made product. So she still had her beauty, right? And she'd probably only been maybe a month in her addiction, so she's still good to go, right? And I go, and I was sick. I was sick in my thinking. When I say sick, I was sick in my thinking, and I said something to the effect, "Hey, there's a God after all." Right? Because I told her, hey, you take care of me, I'll take care of you. I said the same thing that I told all of them. And she was more than willing. Like, when I was thinking about it, that fucking easy, man.
Wow. The power of the drug. No
Exactly.
one wants to be sick.
Exactly.
You'll do anything. I've
Exactly.
seen I've seen my brother do anything to not be sick too.
And
It's
you know why I didn't stay with that girl?
why.
I have to say the side note, man. She's beautiful, beautiful woman. But she was a screamer. I could never take her to some place because she was all screaming, man. She was real enthusiastic about
Yeah.
expressing her emotions during the act, and then when I to high heaven, and
She was
we
a
would
loud
always
one,
get
huh?
busted. Here I was trying to be sneaky and going to this room, that room, and I could. Man, that was a job having my hand over her fucking mouth, man.
Blowing up the spot.
Yeah, I said, no, you gotta shake a spot, man. You can't get me busted, man.
Jesus. Okay, so why sociology? Okay, so I want to get into like when you turned the corner and wanted to pursue a degree. Why
We
not
did
just
mention the Salvation Army, so I have to stop you there.
so that was a pivotal moment. Salvation Army helped coach you into why not give up? Why you not just get sober, but you didn't even just get sober. You decided to go above and beyond and actually pursue a degree. That and then now
I
you're
got to tell you that story. What happened? I was at the Salvation Army, and I love that place. Shout out to the Salvation Army, Anaheim Adult Rehabilitation Center, man. Woo woo. Uh, well, I didn't get it all at once, man. My first couple of weeks there, I wanted to fucking fuck up everybody in that damn program. You had guys in there for the DWI, and they would tell me about the 2 hour experience at if you ever been busted in Orange County, they got this section where you go through. It's called the loop, and people have been known to stay a day in that damn loop, going through the whole process, right? Before you go upstairs or wherever they send you to go get a cell or a dorm or wherever they're going to send you. And this guy was crying about the 2 hours he stayed in there waiting to get bailed. And I'm thinking to myself, and I have to endure, because at that first time, that was the very first process. I was thinking, I have to endure 6 months of this bullshit. I said, fuck, man, I don't think I'm going to survive, man. Right? But gradually the program kicked in. I was about 7, 8 months about 9 months, yeah, because I was almost 9 months into the program when this lady that was a counselor there, she asked me, hey, aren't you a veteran? She goes, I go, yeah. She goes, you got an honorable discharge? Just so happens that I do. And I failed to mention, I had an incident in the service while I was in Germany. I got hit in the head with a baseball bat. And I almost died. They had to medevac me 100 miles away, right? Because the guy hit me over the head twice with a baseball bat. I got an indention in my head behind.
was
that.
it a fellow soldier? Who was
Yeah,
this?
it was. But there's more to it than that. So fast forward when this lady asked me if I was a veteran, I go, yeah. She goes, I just got off the phone with the representative of the VA in Long Beach, man, and he was inquiring whether there was any veterans here because if you didn't know, being at the Salvation Army, you're considered homeless. So he just wanted me make me aware of the numerous programs that are available to veterans with honorable discharge, homeless veterans with honorable discharge. I go, no shit. And I said that. She goes, well, Salvation Army is a faith-based organization. Oh, but the light bulb went on. That Dauphine light bulb went on. I said, and think about it. This is 2013. I got out in 1980, and I never used none of my benefits. Never. How many years is that? 37, something like that?
Yep.
But of course, I'm a good Dauphine. And the light bulb went on. And she kind of see my face. She goes, no, she goes, you know what? If you're entitled to that, go seek it, right? And I thought to myself, well, you know what? I am. I did 4 years service, honorable, even though I fucked up a little bit, but
So this is an educational opportunity that's
No.
presented to you.
the originally was just to get me plugged in and get me housing for when I left the Salvation Army, because you have to make a plan of what are you going to do when you get out of here. You're just not going to get out of here and not have a plan, right?
Got it.
So you had to submit a plan, more or less what the hell you're going to do. You have job opportunity. You have to go and look for a job, right? At that time, you have to go and find a job and be ready to have a job before you get out, right? Or at least possibilities, right? And a place to stay. I mean, they don't force you to stay there, but I mean, it's preferred. They're trying to teach you the responsibility of doing them things, because a lot of us don't do that. The footwork, we don't do the footwork. A lot of us just want it all handed to them. But the Salvation Army, what they taught me was you have to put in the footwork. You have to go stand in line a couple hours, or that's what I had to do. I went to Long Beach. I did that. I got plugged in. Then I took that discharge at every veteran organization here in in Orange County, and I hit that one. And most of these, all of them, not most of them, all these veterans organizations, they help veterans with numerous social programs. I guess today a lot of them will help you with groceries, help you pay the rent, help you utilities, gas cards, bus passes, right? That's all available to veterans here in Orange County, right? So I hit this one that did that, right? And they were gonna give me a bus passes, they were gonna give me a gift cards and what have not, but I had to meet with one of the social workers, a veteran social worker, right? So I sat with this guy, and he's picking my brain about blah 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 blah. And my God's funny, because that guy previously had worked at the Salvation Army, so he knew exactly what. And when you leave from the Salvation Army, go look for work or go look to get plugged in, you have to wear a tie. You have to wear your chapel clothes, everything but the jacket. So what you wear in chapel, you have to wear on the street, real professional looking.
Yeah, you look presentable.
Right? So when I told him that I was at the Salvation Army, he was asking about certain people that were still there, and he knew them, right? And it had been like 10 years since he had left. So he helped me, man. That guy, that like guidance counselor, therapy counselor. He was qualified for all that. That guy was in the Army Reserve, and on the side, he'd go twice a year to Virginia, to Fort Meade, and evaluate the guys that run the drones.
Wow.
Because, look, them drones that they drive are all the way in Lebanon or Beirut or whatever. They're all the way in the Middle East, and they're driving them from Fort Meade, Virginia, right? And he's got that whatever certificate that he has to interview each and every one to see where their mindset is at, because they just don't put anybody in the driver's seat to.
Of course. So this guy really helped you. So you're exposed to these different social programs from being a veteran. How does that lead to you going to Cal State Long Beach?
You didn't let me finish.
I apologize. Go ahead. We got nothing but time. That's the beauty of these podcasts.
So he tells me, he sits down, and you know what? I loved him because I felt that connection, man. Right away, I could see the sincerity. I don't know, man. It's like I'm getting goosebumps because again, it takes one to know one, man. And this guy was like the first. I've never had that. I've never had. All the time, nobody had ever asked Joseph, you want to go to the drug rehab? Nobody. The state, the prison system, nobody asked me. Nobody asked me, hey, do you want some help? Salvation Army was the first time that I ever sought help. I don't know. Maybe if they would have thrown a drug program in between them 40 times I got in a prison, maybe, I don't know, I might have gotten it. What's to say? I always look at it being a waste, that whole era, the 80s, the 90s, and 2000s, because that's the revolving door I went through. Not once was I ever asked, hey, you want some help? And I always identified as being a heroin addict. What's your drug of choice? Heroin. Oh, did that get you busted? Yeah. Do you think? So I told that one time when I had when I got busted for the 40 bags of heroin. Yeah, yeah. Do you think you got a problem? Well, I told him I got busted with 40 bags. What do you think? Right. Anyway, so he's like kind of evaluating me, doing their whatever paperwork they have to do, and I see that he's checking this, he's writing that, and he goes. I guess he gets to the question about what do you plan to do when you leave the Salvation Army. Well, I was telling him about all my uncles, my cousins. They all work in the construction field. My dad's a cement finisher, and he goes, "Get that out of your mind. You're too old." I go, "Wow, who's this guy?"
He's being
You
straight
know,
up.
and I like that,
Yeah.
right? And he goes, "Have you ever thought about going to school?" And I go, "Well, yeah. A lot of times I would spend in them cells in prison, and wondering what the hell did I got here now? What got me here now?" And we always think everybody I've ever talked to has ever done any type of time. They always think of the wouldas, couldas, and shouldas. If I'd have turned left instead of turning right, I wouldn't have got busted. Maybe I would have been able to do this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hindsight's always 2020.
Exactly. And everybody plays that. Every prisoner I've met, but anybody that's ever been busted will always tell you that. You'll always hear that story. Always. About the hindsight. Right? And I go, well, yeah, I always knew I had the capacity. I always had good grades, but when I was in high school, my high school counselor never asked me, Joseph, you want to go to UCLA? Joseph, you want to go to UCI? Because UCI was just built around that time. Do you want to go to Fullerton? Or do you want to go to Long Beach? Nobody asked. No, I've had 3 different counselors when I was in high school. Not one of them asked me if I wanted to go to high school. College. Now, one of them asked me, "Hey, you know what? You have the potential to go to Harvard or Yale." Not one of them. You know what they all told me? Joseph, you know what? You took this aptitude test. You scored high, but you know what? I think you would be a better mechanic. I think you would be a better landscaper. I think you would be a better uh, uh, construction worker. I didn't know. I didn't know it then. I know now why. I know the why now. So when he asked me if I wanted to go to college, I said, "Well, I always had the capacity, man, but nobody ever asked me." He goes, "Well, you know what? My alma mater, junior college is Orange Coast College. I think I think you should go there because I know people over there and I work over there." He was going once a week over there and help the veterans that are attending college over there. And he was like all colleges have that.
I've seen the different
Therapy.
military.
If you want therapy, if you want to go talk to somebody, they have that in their health departments
And he was that person.
for veterans.
Got it.
Because you got to remember, this is at that particular time in 2000, when I went 14, you had a lot of veterans that were transitioning from Afghanistan and Iraq, going to school, and a lot of them were suffering from PSD,
PTSD.
right? And he was the one that would try to put them in a better place, help them put themselves in a better place, right? So he told me to go there. He goes, "You know what? Start. This is what I want you to do. Next time, don't come here. Go to Orange Coast College. Start signing up. Start getting your FAFSA done. Start doing this. He gave me a big ass list, right? Do this. But first, go to Orange Coast College and go take whatever they tell you to do, right? Now, I'm gonna fill this out. I'm gonna fill this out because he was saying you're probably gonna have to go on FAFSA for whatever, maybe the duration, but we're gonna fill this other form out here. And the first thing he asked me, because I had told him I was in tanks, right? He goes, "I see what your MOS was," and MOS means the job title for for in the service. Fancy way of saying. I never got over that one too, man. There's a name. It's an acronym for something. I forgot what it is. Military occupation specialty. I think that's what it. Yeah, that's what it is.
Nice.
Military occupation specialty. Why can't you just say fucking job title, right? So when they ask MOS, that's what it means. Military occupation special. Yeah. So he goes. I see your tanks. He knew too. He goes, "How's your hearing?" And I go, "Fuck, how'd you know?" He goes, "Because everybody in combat arms, especially tanks, they always suffer. What do you call it?" I go, "It's funny you should say that, man, because when I got out of the service, the doctor told me that I should go to the VA and have my ears checked because he said I lost a little bit of my hearing when they did the out when they give you a what's called it's a physical but a discharge physical, right? They wanted to see what damage was happening if you had any damage, so that way whatever they're liable for, they're gonna I guess, right? Because the doctor told me that. He says go to the VA and file for it, and they'll give you a service connected disability. I never did. I was only out of the service 5 months, and I never used the what do you call it? So the light bulb went on that one, right? When he told me. I go, well, yeah, and so I'm harping. Yeah, I wasn't tank. I didn't wear my earplugs, which I didn't. And he's well, put that down. He puts it down. It's some form. You know, the government got forms for everything. It was whatever the file for whatever. And so he another thing for free housing. He got me free housing for when I left veteran housing. 2 years. 2 years they gave me.
Wow.
I call it all expense paid because they had a maid that worked there. She served 3 meals, right? They gave me a TV. They gave me a cosmetic. They gave me every fucking thing. I didn't have a want at that place, not one want, right? He signed me up for that. He kept me a bed for when I got out of the Salvation Army, which I went directly over there. And so, okay, we're finished here. He goes, and he goes, you know. I was getting up. I was shaking it. And he said, you know, something's bothering me. I forgot to ask you a question. I forgot to ask you the question. Did anything happen to you medically? And I go, you know what? Yeah, something did, man. You know, I forgot to tell you that. He go, well, sit down. I go, what happened? And I go, well, I didn't tell him the whole story, but I told him, well, I got hit in the head with a baseball bat, right? And he goes, well, how come you didn't tell me that? And then I told him because then, like I told you, I got a medevac to a hospital 100 miles away, and I was in there for 2 weeks. Man, put this all down, man. Put this all down. And so, okay, so we put it down and blah, 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 blah. And I signed whatever I signed, and then submitted it. I think 4 days later, after he submitted it, I got some letter from San Diego, said, okay. Basically, this letter said this, we got your appeal, and you're on the clock now. So whatever decision they're going to make, they're going to backdate it to that day. You know what I'm saying? So I'm on the clock. So whatever it took, if it takes 3-4 years, well, they have to give me 3 or 4 years from that date.
Which date?
Whatever date that they put on that paper.
Got it. Okay.
So I got out of Salvation Army. I went to the Veterans House, and I had already enrolled in Orange Coast College for the summer of 2014. And I started going. I started that place, Orange OC for Vets. They were giving me bus passes, and then they were giving me a gift cards to McDonald's, to Stater Brothers, and $50 discounts, 2 of them, right? And monthly bus passes. So I didn't have I just had to get up early to go to school, right? And
what was that experience like when you first started going
to
you know
junior
what? College? How did it? I mean,
I forgot to mention that, man, because I went and took a test. I had to go. I went one day. I started signing up. I had to meet a counselor. I didn't meet the veterans counselor at first. I just met a school counselor, They told me I had to go take an aptitude test or whatever test it was for English and math to find out where I was. Uh, um, so I did that. Then I had to come back, and they told me I scored low on math. That I was gonna have to start from the very bottom, remedial math, 1+1. And then I was one level short of starting college level
English and
English. Right, I read a lot. All that time that I've been in prison, and I read some more. I've read probably, I don't know, a couple of thousand books.
wow.
I've read every mythology there is to read about. I've read every European classic. I've read every American classic. I've read everything of Shakespeare, but 3 plays. I've read, then I got on a kick. I've read, uh, I've read every battle that was ever fought in the world at any particular period in the world's history. I've read every battle of every war the United States fought. I've read all that, man. I went on a big kick. Uh, I love
So
autobiographies. I read about all the. I've read Sun Tzu, General Sun Tzu. I've read Machiavelli. I've read all the philosophy. I read Freud. I've read Marx. I've read Engels. I've read Nietzsche. I've read all them motherfuckers.
wow. So the Freud and Marx, like all these different books, I'm sure are shaping your perspective. And now you're finally in college and you have the opportunity to
This is before I went all
select.
that. This
Yeah,
is in
yeah,
the joint.
absolutely. But so you're still consuming some sort of like educational
This was all
material.
in the joint.
Yeah.
And
So
guess what? I play a mean motherfucking game of Jeopardy, man. People would sit up there and say, "How the fuck did you know that one?" It's a long story, brother.
so why
Right?
sociology? What led to that?
Because it's a study of people, man. My emphasis is on race and ethnicity. And I grew up in the '60s, which was a ugly part of early '70s in our history. And I always tell people, man, especially some of these youngsters, please do not begin to try to lecture me. I've read, right?
So after going through the sociology courses and getting your bachelor's degree, graduating on Dean's List, your GPA was at 3.67.
Uh, But
And
the semester before it was 3.5.
that's still incredible. That's amazing. In solving some of these issues, like let's say someone that was your age, someone that's in their youth and is about to go down a similar path that you went down, with your knowledge of sociology, what are some proposals you have to help fix the problem? Because is it coming from parents? I know you said it's mostly peers. Like, what advice would you have to maybe steer someone away from that path, or do you think like maybe they just got to go through it? There's nothing you can really do.
We have we could influence a person's journey. You can, but in the end, a person's journey is their journey, man. Look at me. I was raised with good morals and values. I always knew right from wrong. I always knew when I was fucking up. It wasn't no reflection of my parents. If your kids are raised right with love, with good morals and values, a parent should never blame themselves, man. Because they always ask, where did we go wrong? They didn't go wrong. We know kids, even adolescents, they have the capacity to know what's right and what's wrong.
So it's chance at that point.
I never understood that, man, because you know and I know a lot of parents beat themselves up over that, man. Oh, I did this wrong. Oh, I didn't give him his fucking whatever. No, man. No, it's not like that at all, man. Um, of course, other people have a better head start than other people. That's true.
But
But
you never use that as an excuse.
well, I don't now.
You do?
I know now. Who's to say? Nobody that went to high school with me ever went to college. Think about that. That I know. Junior college, maybe.
So you brought up the point of how you were being treated by police and maybe how counselors at your high school weren't coaching you into
Well,
a
we know
certain,
systematic racism, man.
yeah.
Plain and simple.
So
Plain
I'm
and
sure you
simple.
learned from someone who's a person of color and you've like literally lived through it and experienced it, and that with combination with your education now.
Did you see
How did
the?
you feel like in the moment? You're like, wait, maybe those cops were outing me because of my color. Like,
That was always the case. Always. You know, there was a time in my life, early on. It wasn't that long. Even it's changed since being on this journey. Up to the time, and this is when I'm almost 55. I would cheer each and every time a cop was killed. I gotta keep it real. I cheered because my first thought, karma, motherfucker. Probably fucked with some one of us. You got what you deserve.
it was like you versus them versus you.
Yeah.
That type mentality. Did
I
you?
remember. I'm 62. This was at 55, but my minds have changed. I've met a lot of good cops along this journey, man, and something I would have never ever do. I see a cop, I was fuck that punk. I'm not sit there and give you any fucking time of day. So all the cops that are out there, man, I love you guys, man. I love each and every one of them. It's a stressful job, and I understand that, you know. But again, I'll know. I got that antenna, so to speak.
Because there's good and bad cops, is what you're saying. Just
I'll
like,
know. I'll just know from their demeanor,
yeah.
you know.
And just like, what do you think with like races of people? People like to categorize and stereotype. I always like to say
Well,
there's good and bad people of all
you
colors
know, going to prison, you have to stay with your race.
for safety, right?
Well, no, well, it'll end up turning you racist. If you think you weren't, you're gonna be. Plain and simple. Or suffer the consequences, right? And I know what the consequences can be. Usually you're gonna go out in a gurney, right?
You've seen that?
Many a times. How about this? The very first time I went to Chino in 1980, the very first time, I go right there. It's called the Guidance Center where they take you to in Chino. Chino used to be the reception center for Orange County when this was 1981. I got sentenced in 80, but I ended up February of 81. That was around the first time I went to Chino. When I go in there, and it wasn't as crowded like it is. Well, they're trying to ease up the crowded, but like the late 80s, night, oh my God, it was like fucking overrun. They were like, most of the prisons were at 240% capacity, over. Something like that, some astronomical number. Anyway, when I go over there, they let us out for dinner. And you ever hear scuffling? What tennis shoes does? Keek, 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 keek on the ground. You ever hear that scuffling?
Yeah.
That little squeaky sound that it makes. Have you ever heard when 5 or 6 shoes are all at once?
Like a brawl,
But it makes that squeaking sound. You know it's just that squeaky sound.
depending on how clean that floor is, you know.
But it makes that squeaky sound.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I hear a yell and I look and this dude's coming off the third tier, head first, and bam, and his head cracked like a fucking watermelon. And you see brain matter, you see spinal fluid, and fucking you seen blood. And that was my first day experience in Chino. I'm telling myself, what the fuck did I get myself into?
Holy
Right.
shit.
That night I heard a guy get raped.
And that never scared you to
No.
not wanting to go back?
No, because I
Or
had
is it the power of the addiction?
because the guys that, oh no, when you go to Chino, they know who you are. They already know who where you're coming from and what happened. Comes to find out, I had my cousin was there, right, and he was on the other side of the fucking facility, and he told somebody, and they brought me a big old bag of goodies, cigarettes, coffee, and everything.
Wow.
My,
So you were taken care of inside, huh?
books and everything, yeah.
Wow.
So
That's
I say, hey,
incredible.
this ain't so bad. Well, that's about my street mind and said to myself,
So I want to focus real quick on you said your perspective and your mindset changing from when you were 55 to where you are now. how much of that can be deemed to education? Like, do you the
You know, I had some beautiful people along the way, especially at Orange Coast College, man. I couldn't get math. I flunked 3 different levels of math there. I should have been a graduated Long Beach 3 semesters ago. I flunked 3 different semesters of math, so that put me back. It went like this: they put me at remedial math, and that's they have numbers. It goes a 5, and after you graduate, you go to a next level, then the next level, level. Or if you were good at math, you just go to all the way to the top. Me, I had to work my way up. Remember, I never knew algebra. I never had algebra. Didn't want algebra. I always thought it was for fucking brainiacs, and I didn't have the capacity. And working on myself, I knew it was always fear, the fear of the unknown, and not the fear of applying myself. Right.
got it. So
So over there at Orange Coast, it goes 5, 8, 10, 30 in college level algebra. I went like this. I went 5, 8, 8, 10, 10, 10, 30 in college level.
so you brought up an interesting point of how being smart or knowing math maybe when you're young, that's not the cool thing to do. Like with your sociology knowledge now, how do you think we try to make it seem cool to be like smart and get an education? These kids that want to be part of that gang
Well,
life,
you got
like
to
you
put
were
it out
saying.
there, man. I mean, they don't know. They don't put enough out there.
So you think of the options there?
You know, I'm all in favor for the decriminalizing the police, but not in the. Obviously, we need the police. I'm a big supporter of the police, but if you do the job right, man, there's a lot of programs, model programs throughout the United States, and but the problem is they're doing one here, one there, one. Why don't they have one big program and have a set of rules, and let's start from there instead of one here, one there, and.
So you think a lot of these troubled youths need some sort of
Well, I
program?
think, I think, I think. Well, it gets deeper than that, man. It is the whole idea of where you're living. That's deeper. The forces that cause where you're living at, and the institutional racism. The banks not affording loans to people of color, and it's a big thing, and I ain't got the time to sit here and explain it, brother.
No, absolutely. I understand what you're saying, but from someone that's gone through it and came out on the other side, what what would you have to say to someone that used to be in your shoes that
Oh, don't lose up hope, man. There's a lot of resources today, and I utilize them. I thank God for the look. I never used my VA benefits, and what I didn't tell you, and you didn't, I didn't finish telling you the baseball bat incident. Right, I'm going to school. I'd already been going for about a year, and one day I get this big vanilla envelope, and prior to that envelope, about 3 months before, I had seen this doctor. And he's asking about the baseball incident, right? And all my medical from that day, from whenever it happened, whatever, from 19, so that happened in 1978, 79, 79. It was still in my original folder. And he's looking at it, and the first thing he asked me, bend over and let me see. And he's feeling it. He's feeling it. He goes, is this where? And I go, yeah. Yeah, because he's looking at the whatever chart or whatever. He's a doctor, and he's looking at this. What he does is this: everybody that applies for a service connected, he evaluates it and sends it to a board, what's called a board, right? And whatever his decisions, in other words, he does the initial work for the board, right? And they usually go by. I didn't find this till later. Whatever he says, what he's recommended, they go by. Now, obviously, they can't do everybody's all at once. They'd be there forever, right? Looking at everybody's. So this is like he kind of screens them to see if you have a legitimate complaint against the government for the service connect. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So he's feeling it. He goes, and then he's asking me. He's asking me about ringing in the ears. I go, how'd you know? Well, it says right here, and I go, yeah, I get them like 4, 5 times a year, a week. ringing. All my time, I still get them ringing in the ears. Oh yeah, he goes, that's called tendonitis. Nobody told you about that? No. He goes, and he starts writing shit. I hope I didn't. I'm thinking, I hope I didn't fuck up, right? And so he's writing blah blah blah, and he asked me a couple of more questions, and so and he said, okay, but I stayed with him for about half hour, 45 minutes. I said, okay, cool. I didn't know the significance of what that was, right? I just knew he was going to evaluate me, and I didn't know till later that I find out the significance of what that meant. So fast forward to that, I'm getting this envelope. I open it up, blah 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 blah. You've been granted 50% service connected, blah blah blah. And now I'm living in that veterans house, and I ran into my buddy, and I go, "What's this mean?" He goes, "Fuck, you got the golden ticket, fool." I go, golden ticket. I never liked Willy Wonka until somebody told me later. You know what that meant, man? The golden ticket, right? He was referring to Willy Wonka, right?
Yeah.
He goes, and by then I was already going to school. He goes, you better go upstairs to go boot up your computer and look in your account. He goes, why? They gave you. That means you just got money. This means they gave you money and you're gonna get a check for the rest of your life. I go, no shit. He goes, yeah. I go, no shit. And he goes, yeah. So fucking I ran upstairs. I booted up the computer. I went to my account. $14,500, man, for 18-month back payment from the day that day started. It was 18 months. Remember I told you when that letter and my time was going to start that day? 18 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So that opened the door to what I'm doing now, vocational rehab. Vocational rehab is for somebody that's had a service-connected disability and retrain them or go to school, whatever you want, but you get 4 years of what do you call it? So if I would have wanted a certificate, I'd go get a certificate. But with the help of Dana, the guy that pushed me to Orange Coast College, I said, well, I'm going to go to college. The rest is history.
That's incredible, man. Well, your story, like, thank you for coming on and sharing it. It's absolutely incredible. And not just to give up, because so many people in society, they look at someone that is a drug addict or has been to prison and you're seen as damaged goods. Like, you should just give up because you're never going to get a job. You're never going to amount to anything. And you proved everyone wrong. And it sounds like it wasn't all just by yourself. You were blessed with good people in your life that helped shape you.
I got to tell you two things.
Of course.
So, thank God for this notoriety. My VA counselor for the program of vocational rehabilitation, I get a counselor for that, right? And it makes sense because all she handles is veterans that go to school. Now, you got a lot of veterans that come from. Did you know right now, if you go into the service, you're entitled, you'll get, when you get out, you got 4 years of free schooling? Right? Yep. As long as everybody's in Afghanistan, everybody's going to get that. Doesn't matter. Any military. It could be the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. You'll always have 4 years. Until they close that program, everybody up to today, right now, they'll always have that. So anybody's decided to want to go to the service, you go do your 3 years and you get out, you'll have 4 years of free schooling. Right? And I think right here at Orange Coast College, they were paying them kids $3,000 a month.
Wow. So there are programs in place that take care of.
But that's only while you're in school. That's only while you're in school will you get that money.
So the incentive's there to stay in. If you want the $3,000, you got to stay in school.
Right? So, yeah, but they'll only pay you while you're in school. When you're not in school, they don't pay you.
Got it.
So, I talked to my VA handler. I get an email. She goes, "Oh, I see you on TV and blah 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 blah." She wrote me a big ass long page of email. I said, "Damn, that's the first communication I had with this lady in 2.5 years. In 2.5 years, I had never had no communication. I met her a couple of times early on when I was in Orange Coast College, and after that, nothing." The only time I would have any type of contact with her is I'd make the veterans people submit this because going to school under the voc rehab program, they bought me a brand new expensive laptop and a brand new expensive fucking printer, right? And as you know, ink is expensive. So every semester I would submit this form, or I have the veteran people submit this form for X amount of ink for the semester. And she would always approve it. And that's the only way I knew that she would, that I had her. I hadn't seen her 2.5 years. So, blah, 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 fancy title, her name, and Volk Rehab Counselor, Long Beach, blah, 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 blah. And then at PS, if you need anything, call me. This is my personal number. Bean cheese, the light bulb went on, right? I'm going to get this, but I don't want to get it. Well, again, it's good. I won't. All she could say is no. Ring, ring. Who's this? I told her my name. And she goes, oh, congratulations, blah, 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 blah. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Uh, she goes, you know what? You're one of the very few I never had to worry about. That's why, because I asked her, hey, long time no here, man. Did it take me getting put on blast for you to call, for have any type of response? And she told me, you know what? I don't know if you remember the last time we seen, and you had such good grades. I did. I transferred over there to Long Beach with I think it was a 3.1 GPA. It was over 3. It was either 3 or 3.1, 3.0, right?
So being above.
She goes, nah, man, I already knew you had. She goes, I didn't have to worry about you. Your grades spoke for themselves. That's how she said it. It's the guys that just don't want that are below 1. She was telling me she had guys that were below 1. I said that's like straight D's or straight F's or something. I don't know. I don't know. She goes, no, I didn't have to worry about you. That's why I granted you your ink. I know you have an ink printer, and I know you didn't like looking at the. Because I told her I never liked looking at all the emails. I don't like looking at the screen. I printed it all out, hard copies. Right.
So these grades of yours, is that something that you think you were just naturally blessed with an intelligent brain, or was it your work ethic? What made you care so much to get
the work ethic?
So what was that like? Were you staying on top of all your schoolwork, just actually going to class, caring? And you're around a bunch of kids that are young adults that are so much younger than you, I imagine.
Oh, they gave me a life.
Did they?
And I think it's funny you should say that. It's funny to say that summer that I went, I seen a smirk on this kid's face. Like, what the fuck you doing here? Right? And I knew what it meant. I knew exactly what it meant. He didn't say it, but I knew exactly what that fucking smirk meant. Oh, you little fucking cocksucker. Don't you know? In my mind, don't you know I just go beat the fuck out of you? Right? I said, hold your horses. Hold your horses. And then I calmed down. This little motherfucker. He probably thinks I can't do it or I'm too old. Okay, little motherfucker. And I went out of my way to go fucking introduce myself. What's your name, kid? Right? And he got a little scared. I guess the way the pitch. He was in my class. He was my English class. All right.
You showed all
I
them.
ended up getting an A in that class. Right? And it's like, all right, I'm gonna show you, little motherfucker. And then it got to the point where I'm gonna show you that I could do. And I got an A in that class, and I got an A in the other, the history of rock and roll. That's the other class. It covered something in music.
Were there any professors that stood out that really helped you in your journey?
All of them helped me, and I already know because of the novelty of the gray hairs. Anyway, I got to tell you this. So my lady, the VA handler, she tells me, blah 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 blah. She's all happy, blah, 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 blah. You know, I tell everybody that was my caseload. She's bragging in the office and all that shit. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, do that because she helped me. Without her, in all righteousness, without her, I wouldn't have had the journey or at least got paid for it, right? Because she did all for the Volk Rehab and she fight for me. So, okay, Melody, we talked about 10 minutes. I go, I need to ask you a question, so I need you to put your Volk Rehab hat on. Take your friend hat off and put your Volk Rehab hat on. She goes, okay. I guess she heard the sternness. She goes, let me go into my computer, okay? Let me pop your name up, okay? Okay, she goes, shoot. I go, look, I got 3 months left before I exhaust my benefits for school, man. And that's maybe one semester. I think it's going to be a little short than one semester, right? She goes, what's the possibilities of me getting an extension for the master's program, right? Under Volk Rehab. She goes, well, let me see. She goes, man, I don't know what we did 6 years ago or 5 years ago, whatever it was, right? But you're eligible for a master's. And she went on and on. I swear I didn't understand what she was saying. I couldn't tell you what word she said. She just said it was you're eligible, and like God is good because I get another fourth semester free ride, man, and get paid for it.
Master's degree.
On the master's degree.
Incredible.
So, because the program I'm under right now, they pay for everything. They pay for tuition. They pay for my books. They pay for my supplies. Any programs I might need, they pay for that. They pay for my parking permit, any incidentals like the robes or whatever. They pay for all of that. And I get $243 per class. So times 4, I get that each month.
So you're getting paid to go learn and better yourself.
Well, people ask me, what's your job? I go to school. What do you mean? You work at the school? I go to fucking school, jackass. I get paid to go to school. So if she gives me this extension, guess what's going to happen? If I get approved, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to get paid to go to fucking school.
So after you complete this master's degree, what do you see for yourself in the long run?
Oh, I got friends that
What do you want to do with now, like your expertise?
My goal was to help kids, man, specifically at risk youth, because who helps them? And if it takes my story or it takes me or whatever to fucking motivate them, so be it. If it takes my story to give hope, so be it. If it takes my story to inspire, so be it. If it takes my story to motivate a motherfucker, so be it, man. You know, because I've had people get at me and ask me, well, let's start a GoFundMe page. And I said, no. Wait a minute. I don't do that. He goes, wow, we could pay for your education. Nah, I think I'm going to get the education covered. I didn't tell him. I didn't know about this happening. But she had told me, she sent me paperwork. She said, fill it out. And when you get, if they approve you, send me the approve paper. We'll submit it, and I'll tell my boss. And I'm pretty sure you're gonna get. There's no. She goes, I don't see them not approving you.
I see. Well, now since you have such good community outreach and people know who you are, maybe if your education's covered, that notoriety, you could do a GoFundMe or build some sort of organization.
I wouldn't do it.
No.
Well,
what about to like pool money for
if
other
I do
people?
that, it'd be for a direct. That'll go directly to somebody.
Exactly.
It's gonna go directly to the kids of whatever, some type of organization. Yeah, I'll do it like that. But I didn't do this for any monetary gain. Because there was a lot of people that were telling me, I go, man, if you feel the need that you want to donate to my name in the Salvation Army or donate to the Salvation Army directly, because guess what? Then people saved my life.
The first time we spoke on the phone, that's what came out of your mouth. You're like, I'm not doing this for money or nothing. I just want to help people. It's literally what you said. You didn't want any type of monetary thing, and that stood out. It was pretty incredible.
So the other day I was with the production company that does all the radio, the TV, and podcasts, whatever for the Salvation Army throughout the United States. And we're talking, and they're talking about making me the poster kid for the upcoming spring. I guess they do that. I remember now. Every spring they get the push out there to people donate spring cleaning. If you're spring cleaning, donate to the Salvation Army. Well, they're gonna make me the poster boy, and I'm telling them the same thing. Look, man, I don't want nothing out of this. I don't, man. If the Salvation Army wants me to do cartwheels, I'll do cartwheels for the Salvation Army if it don't interfere with my schooling. And right now I'm on hiatus, man. So I'll do it. Yeah, quick. Because once this school starts, all bets are off. I'm sorry, but I'll have to put all bets. I have to focus on me, right? And we're talking, and they're talking. They're diehard Christians, right? And I knew I could, So I thought I'd throw this. Uh, I'm not working for any monetary gain, but guess what? I've been known to sell my soul for a burrito, for a good burrito.
What, asada or carnitas?
Asada.
Asada.
I've been known to sell my soul for a good burrito. I had them laughing. They were laughing, like laughing. I said, damn. But they see the humor in it. And,
Well,
Hold on. One last thing. The other day also, some lady was watching my news feed back east, right? And she calls this lady that has an office at the college, right? Long Beach. And she tells me, blah, 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 Long Beach, right? And I go, who? What? And she called me directly, right? I said, how'd you get my number? So I'm thinking it's a scam, right? And she goes, liaison. All I heard was liaison, right? And I know what a liaison means, a go-between, right? So I'm not that dumb. I got a college degree. So she goes, I go, look, man, you say you're from Long Beach? She goes, yeah. So I'm in front of my computer, which I was. I said, send me an email, man. My email is and I give her my email. And she sends it. And I can't even pronounce her name, and it says government and community liaison and she has an office at Long Beach State. And I go, "Hey, who's your boss? You said they were back east. Who's your boss? You didn't say that. Oh, I didn't. Uh, my boss senior newsfeed yesterday, and she told me to send her congratulations and to tell you job well done. You still didn't say who your boss is. Oh, I'm sorry, Senator Dianne Feinstein. We're gonna send you a certificate of recognition,
incredible.
right? And I go, man, this is from an old dope fiend that's been known to been known to not be nice about getting his drugs. I really don't get into the ugly stuff, and I don't, man. It don't it don't.
You don't need to really tell your story. Certificate of recognition.
What's the fancy title she has?
That's incredible.
What's the? I couldn't even pronounce her name. What's her name?
Let's pull it up right here. Ricky Bergener.
And what's her title?
Director of Government and Community Relations.
And she worked for Dianne Feinstein.
Wow. Richanette, a.k.a. Ricky Bergener. Shout out. That's incredible. Well, you deserve it, man. Your story's incredible. I imagine there's going to be a lot of people coming out of the woodworks to congratulate you. And I was just really blessed that you wanted to come on and tell your story on Mind Meetings.
Well, you were the first one, and I'm a firm believer, first in line. Closed mouths don't get fed.
I saw you on social media, and my buddy started sharing your article, and I'm like, yeah, I saw that earlier.
Well, if you know anybody, reshare that, man. It needs to get out there, man. There's a lot of stigma. And one last thing, I have to go. When I made that picture, this is a God honest truth. This is how it happened. I knew I had an appointment with this kid. I had put a ad on the school Facebook for students website. It said something like this: looking for a student photographer, for a full-time student photographer to take grad pictures at the college, cash only. I don't do nothing cash. I mean, electronically.
All
I'll go
cash.
spend $10 to go out of my way and pay my bills directly. I don't put my debit. I'll have a debit card. I got a long story. I don't like a credit card. I know I should build up my credit, but whatever. So I get this kid, and we got an appointment to go do the what do you call it? The shoot
Mm.
at the school. I woke up that morning and I thought, you know what? I have never in my lifetime ever seen a tatted down dude or lady, for that matter, in front of their fucking university with their degree. I wonder what kind. Uh, that would send a in my mind. That would send a good message to a lot of demographics. If you think about it, the demographics I would cover: age, race, uh, um, prison, recovery, right?
You were right. It went viral for that
But
reason.
it touched all the think about it. People of color, my race, uh, former inmates, former incarcerated, um, age, recovery, right? That's what five, right? That's five different demographics I did, and there's probably another one in there somewhere. I don't know.
So you're an outlier, and you wanted to prove a point that
Well,
you're people who are inmates and have gone what you through
that was
aren't.
the original
Yeah,
intention,
they
right?
aren't damaged goods.
Right?
You could still make it happen.
And to tell you, this is a God's honest truth. I thought nobody's ever done that, man. So I did it. I had that vision of doing that I had that vision of doing that exact post with the idea with the mindset for me. Fuck you. How do you like me now? You try to keep me away. You try to fucking bury me away, motherfuckers. Look what I did. Fuck you. That's what it was for.
That's incredible, man.
That's what it was for. I did it with honors, motherfucker. How you like me now?
And on to the master's program.
And anybody could do that, man. Anybody could do that if you apply yourself. If I could do it, anybody could do it. You just have to have, just like in recovery, we say you have to have the look. I give myself goosebumps. You gotta have the willing desire to want to change whatever you want to change, man. But it takes every fiber of your being, man. If you want to do that, if you want to be a good student, put all of your heart and soul in that. I mean, I because of all the times I've been in prison and all the different institutions, I'm kind of regimental, right? There's certain things I do, especially when it comes to school. I work. I always had my classes in the morning, right? By 12 o'clock, because I'm a veteran, I always got first pick. I was always guaranteed a seat. So yeah, I'm a morning person. All my classes ended by noon. I'd come back, eat lunch, relax a minute, and then do a 5 hours, 6 hours, depending on what classes were, of homework, right? And this way I'd have at least 2 hours, 3 hours of me time and to relax and watch the news or my programs or whatever. I'm big on National Geographic and History Channel. I'm a big fan of the Pawn Stars. Wicked Tuna. Oh, that's my favorite program.
Nice.
I
You're
love
a
the ocean.
fisherman. Yeah, you like fishing.
I love the ocean, man. I love how they. I'd give my. Well, I'd give anything to go on one of them damn. Just to try it, man. You see how big them fuckers are?
Like a deep sea fishing boat?
No,
The tuna boats.
Tuna.
Yeah.
I love it. I've watched every season, man.
We're gonna set it up. I know some people that got boats, and I imagine there's gonna be people listening to this too that are gonna take you out to get that tuna.
I never did
they'll
that,
be
man.
running soon. Last season there was a lot of big tuna out there just off our shores here.
Yeah, fuck. And I love tuna. It's the only thing I eat raw. I don't like sushi.
Besides
anyway,
tuna.
anyway, fuck. I lost my thought.
That's all right, Joseph. Well, your story's incredible. I'm super blessed to sit down here and hear your story directly, and it's gonna have an impact on a lot of people. And I really admire what you've done, Joseph, and thank you.
I hope and I pray that if you're struggling, man, get some help, man. Get some help. Don't wait till you're my age to get that fucking help, man. In my case, I love sticky needles in my arms, man. But then I got tired. I got tired of the consequences. I didn't tell you that. I got tired of waking up sick. I got tired of wondering who in the fuck I'm gonna hit today. Who in the fuck am I gonna have to go beg, borrow, and steal? I got tired of it. I got tired of the prison politics. I got tired of my neighborhood politics. I got tired of all. I got tired, and I walked away on my terms. I walked away on my terms. And the thing is, I'd never ever forget how it was, man. And I still wake up tired. I'm still tired. Except today, I focus my energy on my schoolwork now. And I'm single, man. I've been separated for shit. I've been separated for 4 years now, 3 years. And it is what it is, man. She decided. I told you. I think I told you. She decided to go out and use again, and she started using with the neighbor, and she started banging the neighbor.
No, you didn't mention it. You said this was 3-4 years ago?
Yeah. I wanted to kill that motherfucker.
I'm sure.
I had no desire to use.
But you had to walk away. You didn't want to be associated with that.
No, I called my brother in recovery, and he came and saved me, man. Not so much saved me. Him and his wife held my hand for about a month, man. They wouldn't keep me out of the sight because they knew, I kind of sugarcoated,
Well, there's events like that could help you break your sobriety,
In my life, running around the streets, I did the things, I did a lot of ugly things. I lived an ugly life. You ever hear the initiation rituals that people have to go through if you want to join a gang? I never had to do that.
I've heard stories.
I never had to do that because of the things I did to kind of earn my stripes were so horrendous that I was able to be trusted because I did it all for a piece of dirt that wasn't mine.
And those will stick with you forever, huh?
Yeah.
Were you able to forgive yourself?
Going on this journey, that was one of the main things I had to do, is forgive myself. Because I caused a lot of damage, man. I did a lot of damage. I didn't tell you all the ugly things that I did. And I don't want to project myself. But I was a evil person, man. Especially with that coat. And in between, I was representing my neighborhood, and I did it. And people that know me, they'll tell you. How about this? And this is about as far as I'll go. When people would take me to any parties or whatever, the first thing they would make me do, they would take my knife away. And I'll just leave it at that. Because I was known for using that damn knife.
Not anymore. Now you use a pencil, huh? Pencil and a pen to get your point across.
And I don't want to.
That's the beauty of it.
I don't want to glamorize it. I'm not, man. That's just the life.
It's the reality. But instead of making an impact in that way, now you're using pen and paper.
And it's funny because everybody would tell me, let's go here. Hey, no. Hey, we're going over here. You got to, no. And I was going to fight with my homeboy, a childhood friend. We shared the same creek. He didn't want to think, no. I'm not. You're going to get fucked up. No. 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 We're going to go home. We're going to have a good time. No. Go put it over there or else you ain't going. Yeah, really. That's how it was.
That's the truth. Yeah. Well, Joseph, brother, hey. Bless you, man. I gotta
get going.
Well, thank you for coming on. And with that being said, you guys talking goes a long way. And I want to have you back on Postmasters. We'll catch up as
God willing, yeah.
Okay.
Or at least I'll let you know if I got accepted.
Yes, please do. All right. Thank you for coming on. It was a pleasure.
Well, if nobody told you today that they love you, my brother, know that I do.
Hey, me too, brother. All right. Take care, you guys.